What's happening, everybody? Ryan Adams here. I am a local Sienna realtor, but also just a normal resident just like you. And I thought it's time, I think I did the last update in March. Thought it would be great to do a Sienna market, real estate market update to give you kind of a step into what's actually happening in the market. I don't know if some of you've realized, but the market has shifted quite a bit rather quickly rather than tiptoeing down. It's made some slight adjustments. I don't think there's any reason to panic, any reason to go crazy, but some stuff just want to share with you just so you know. One of the biggest things that we've seen in the market, of course, is the interest rates have definitely taken a larger increase. I think the last time I did this update was back in March, and interest rates were probably right around the low fours at that point. Now, some places you're even seeing 6.5%, which historically speaking, if you looked at a very large calendar going back to the 70s, 80s, we're still in the very low side of where interest rates have been. And the reality is, quite honestly, if you talk to some of my lender friends, they would tell you, like realistically, 2.5, 3.5% is not realistic for 30-year fix. We might get to see that again, but that was a really great time. So if you took advantage of that, great. If you refied during that, great. That's probably brought a little bit of shift. Obviously, inflation's gone up, which that interest rates kind of follow inflation. But as that's happened, that's probably brought some buyers out, or maybe they're still willing to buy, but their affordability has gone down because they now can't afford the house that they were looking at that was at the interest rate they originally had when they started looking. And because the buyer market has been very difficult, that has probably been the reason. So that being said, sellers, you guys have been living the dream and having great opportunities in the last 2 years. So hopefully, if you were thinking of selling, as we told you back in March, you did that. If not, I still have very encouraging news for you. So let's get into the numbers real quick. March 2022, there were 61 homes sold. Average new construction price was $195 a square foot. Average resale was $164 a square foot. That includes pool and no pool. That's usually the biggest difference besides different price points. I'm not gonna get into all the different price points. If you want that information, leave a question in the comments. I can be glad to email you what your particular price point would average out at. Here is today's current market. This would be the last 30 days, which when I'm filming this isn't quite into the end of June, but almost there. So we're just gonna go back 30 days. We had an increase, 76 homes. So that's roughly 15 more homes were sold. That includes new construction and resale. We had less new construction though. Back in March, we had 23 in that 30-day period. Now we only had 16, and I'll talk about that in just a second. And almost double the amount of resale homes have sold in this 30-day period comparatively back to March. That puts the price per square foot for new construction all the way up at $203 a square foot average that it's selling for. Not what it's listed for, but what it's selling for. And that puts the resale price per square foot up to $168, which is really just about a $4 increase from back in March. Here's another good statistic, and I'll put this on a map for you. If you look at the price per square foot, and we're gonna take out new construction because that's so much higher than where we're at right now, comparatively to resale, is the front was averaging about $165 a square foot of Sienna, and kind of where I drew the line was really the railroad track. You can draw it however else you want. You've got some higher end homes in the front of Sienna that are on the front side, and you got some higher end homes that are on the back side, but I just kind of drew it, so both kind of represent that, and then you kind of got all different kinds of other price points, both the front and the back. The back was $169. So really there was a $4 square foot difference between the front and the back. Front a little bit cheaper, but nothing significant. Another cool fact that I want you to understand, in the last 30 days, the homes with pools sold for $183 a square foot. So taking that average almost $20 or more per square foot. So pools equals, which we know that, pools equals more price per square foot, but just kind of show you the difference in that. So that's the numbers that I'm gonna give you just so you can have that. Again, if you have any questions, please let me know. what are the key thoughts from this, and what do you take away from that if you're a homeowner in Sienna and you're like, all right, what does this mean for me? Here's what I tell you. One, when I say the market is slowing, I don't mean it's bad. What I mean is the market is probably becoming a little bit more balanced. Sellers, you've been living the dream. You didn't have to really do much to sell your house. Now, you'll probably see your home sit on the market a little bit longer. Average days on market 30 days ago was probably like 8 is what I've got here. Now, probably looking at like 2 to 3 weeks. That's gonna be probably what our new average is. Buyers, it gives you an opportunity, if you're thinking about buying, it gives you an opportunity to potentially not have to go crazy and 10% above and waiving appraisals and all that stuff. Might give you an opportunity to actually get a normal price. I personally think that this is the new price for our homes. I don't think we're gonna have this down. There's probably a lot of pessimists out there that are gonna argue that. I think the market has shown it's strong enough, and I think here's the deal, like if we were in a, if kind of this recession that's coming in came in and we were at high interest rates and we had tons of inventory, it could potentially bring a lot of these prices way down. But the reality is we still have, for the amount of buyers that are coming in, we have a very small amount of inventory still, and nationwide the same thing as well. So I think it's just, we've created a new price structure for where we're at resale wise. We may see a slight dip but from all the data that I've seen, and I'll put this slide up for you, which is kind of the 8 most sources out there that I trust for real estate, giving you advice and information, says that the average is gonna be about 8.9% increase in home values for the rest of 2022, and then moving to 23 and 24, 5% in 23 and 4% in 24. So that means you're probably looking at about, what is that? 17 to 18% increase from the beginning of 2022 in your home's value. So that would say interest rates are gonna go up, maybe a little bit more, but as soon as inflation starts coming down, which the economics would say that it's probably gonna start coming back down toward the end of the summer. If that does happen, interest rates will come back down, but home values will probably continue to increase, probably just not as crazy as it's been for the last 2 years. Comparing to Sienna, what I would tell you, if you have a pool and you're thinking about selling, I mean, obviously you're gonna do well, you're $20 a square foot more. And I think probably the reason for that is supply chain stuff, just getting a pool built and getting it on the book for a builder is difficult right now. But then you're looking at a pool that maybe costs you $75,000 to $80,000, which is kind of the average price of a standard pool. Pool spa in Sienna, probably starting at $95,000 to $100,000 now, and that's probably why. But again, we have some great pool builders here in Sienna, so talk to them if you're thinking about that. And one of the other things that I had mentioned in my previous video was what's gonna continue to keep the resale market hot is that the higher those new construction prices are comparatively to resale, which right now we're probably still looking at around a $40 square foot difference, which is about the same it was 3 months ago. It's gonna continue to keep that resale market hot because you're gonna make that buyer have to make a decision. Do they really want to get a smaller house, smaller rooms, but it's new, or buy that resale home where they're gonna get much more for their money, and then they can make it their own style. And there's some people that want the new construction, and that's totally great. But that gap being that big is really gonna continue to help the resale market out. The kind of the interesting thing is just that it's been 3 times the amount of resale homes sold. So we'll kind of monitor and see which homes continue to come on the market and kind of where that goes. And I will tell you, the one thing that we do see, there are price reductions in resale, but almost all of new construction, for the most part, unless you're building from the ground up, we're seeing lots of drops coming down. Lots of price decreases. And so where we were even seeing pricing increases almost 3 to 4 months ago. So that's kind of a sign that people aren't willing to pay that price for that premium of new construction, which is gonna bring that price down, get it a little closer to resale, maybe potentially could have a resale market, but right now, resale market is still doing absolutely wonderful. Other kind of just interesting facts I wanna make sure you understand, homes are probably gonna sit a little bit, but we've had a mass of people moving into Sienna. Fort Bend County in particular. This is some stats coming from a great website called howmoneywalks.com. In the past year, we've had $8 billion that have come in to Fort Bend County. So we've actually had more money come into our county, rather, this is not Sienna, but Fort Bend County. And if you look at the top 5 counties that money is coming in from, and I'll put the stat up here for you, it's Harris County, so people moving from the city out to the burbs. You've got Los Angeles, which LA, they're moving from LA to Fort Bend County. Jefferson, Texas, which is kind of that Beaumont area. Lafayette from Louisiana, and Cook County, which is in Chicago. That's where the 5 top counties that are moving into Fort Bend County, representing all Fort Bend County. So that's just another stat for you. But all that to say, that's your update. What I would again tell you is it's becoming more of a balanced market. Sellers probably still have a little bit more advantage, but buyers, finally, there's a little bit of relief where you don't have to go so crazy in those offers. But what I would tell you is when that house does hit the market that looks good, it's got a pool, got an outdoor kitchen, moderately update, it's still gonna fly off the shelf because that's just a hard one to find in Sienna. As always, I'm here for you, Ryan Adams, Compass Real Estate, live right here in Sienna. Would love to help any way we can. If you just have mere questions, please feel free to reach out. There's also a lot of great realtors here in Sienna. I'm sure they'd love to help you as well. Y'all have a great week.